All right, here's the last section of our Chapter 3 slides. Part 4, Learning Objectives 16 to 20, pages 51 to 53. Remember, we're going to now talk about telephones. When nursing assistants use the telephone during their shift, they are representing their facility to the community. Following the rules for proper telephone etiquette, or rules for politeness, is important. So remember these rules for telephone etiquette, or telephone politeness. Cheerfully greet the callers. Identify your facility, yourself, and your position. Listen closely to the caller's request and write down any messages. Get a telephone number if needed. Thank the caller and say goodbye. And remember these rules as well. Do not give out staff or resident information over the phone. Ask before placing a caller on hold. Can I put you on hold? Would be a way to say it. Ask for training to transfer calls. Sometimes phone systems might have a way that you can transfer a call from one phone to the next phone, but you'll probably need some training to learn how to do that. Follow facility policy regarding personal phone calls and cell phone use. And I'm sure that they will tell you about that once you start working in a facility. So let's think about this. What could happen if a nursing assistant gave out confidential information about residents or about staff members or their colleagues over the phone? Stop the video and think about this question and try to answer it. Try to answer it out loud, or you can write your answer down on a piece of paper. Now we're going to talk about the call system. The call system in this case is not a telephone call. It's an internal, it's inside the facility. Residents signal staff that they need them by using the call system. In other words, they are calling the staff. Other terms for this system are signal light or call light. This system allows residents to call for help when needed. Remember, the call light is the resident's lifeline and must always be answered immediately. Ignoring a call light is abuse. If a resident has used the call light and called for help, then you can't ignore that. You need to go and answer that call. A call light must always be left within the resident's reach before a nursing assistant leaves the room. So they must know where that little button is or where the call light is so that they can have it available if they need it. And you will practice this quite a bit in spring term. All right, let's define the following term: rounds. Rounds are scheduled visits to each resident's room to assess the resident's condition and needs and to discuss the care plan with the participating staff. So you literally just go around the facility and see the residents that you need to see, and we call that rounds. Now let's talk about the start of shift reports. Arrive on time, listen for your assignment, and for information about all residents in your area. Listen carefully to information from the prior shift. And some of you who are working as caregivers will be familiar with this. Ask any questions you have about your residents. Remember, the nursing assistant's role in the end of shift reports is to report information gathered about residents during the shift so that staff members on the next shift can provide good care. So you're handing care off from one shift to the next. There's a couple of terms that are found on an assignment sheet, and one is code status. Code status is formal documentation of the type and scope or amount of care that should be provided to a particular resident in the event of a cardiac arrest, other catastrophic organ failure, or terminal illness. So what are we really talking about there? What we're really saying here is that there should be documentation of what the person wants. If someone is elderly, they will have a code status that will say whether or not, what kind of care that they want to have happen in the case of some of these end-of-life considerations or things that could happen toward the end of their life or death. Code. In healthcare, an emergent medical situation in which specially trained responders provide the necessary care. So a code is when there's an emergency and when they need specially trained responders. An assignment sheet lists residents and all of the tasks that must be done for them. The following information is typically found on an assignment sheet: residents' names and room numbers, medical diagnosis, code status, activity level, range of motion exercises, and bathing information. Other things typically found on an assignment sheet: continued, diet orders, fluid orders, bowel and bladder information, how often to measure vital signs, treatments to be performed, and tests and procedures to be performed. All right, now we have to organize work and manage time. So an important word that you will hear over and over again is prioritize, to place things in order of importance. Remember these tips for organization and time management. Plan ahead, prioritize. That means figure out what is most important and what is least important, and do the important things first. Make a schedule. Combine activities. So very often what you learn when you're doing vital signs is that you will take a pulse and also count respirations while you're still holding the resident's hand. And then finally, you want to get help when needed. Do not be afraid to ask for help. If you cannot complete an assignment for any reason, notify the nurse. Nursing assistants who are not afraid to ask for help provide the best care to their residents. All right, so let's think about a few more of these questions. Critical thinking. How strong are your organization and time management skills? So think about this question, and we will probably be answering some of these questions in class. So how strong are your organization and time management skills? In what ways can you improve them? And do you have any additional ideas for being more organized? All right, that's the end of this lecture and the end of chapter 3. Thank you for watching.